Okay, so we've been talking a lot about cloud native apps and the fact that they can run anywhere. One of the ways they can run anywhere is by using AKS on Azure Stack HCI. And we'll discuss that with Ben Armstrong. Ben, how are you?
I'm good, Olivia. Great to be here today to chat to you about this.
Well, thanks for your time. So before we get into the topic, can you give a little introduction about yourself? Who are you and what are you doing these days?
Hi, yeah, happy to do so. Hi, I'm Ben Armstrong. I'm actually Group Program Manager for AKS on Azure Stack HCI. Now, a lot of folk know me as someone who's worked in virtualization forever. If you've worked on Hyper-V, you've probably come across my name. But for the last couple of years, I've been leading the team who's been working on taking AKS, a hugely popular Azure service, and making it available for customers to run in their data centers on Azure Stack HCI.
Nice, lots of acronyms. So actually, I'd like for you to decipher some of them. AKS, Azure Kubernetes Service, and HCI, Azure Stack HCI for.
So the really easy way to think about this is that we know that a lot of people are investing in modernizing their apps and developing new cloud native apps, and in doing that, they're building these applications using containers. It's the way to do things these days, and AKS is our Kubernetes service that makes it really easy to take those containers and run them in production style. When you're running these applications, you're a business. You need uptime, you need availability, you need managing, you need monitoring. AKS delivers all of that for you and lets you focus on your app that's running in the containers on top of that. Azure Stack HCI, on the other hand, is our offering for running these services in your data center. So for our customers, you have your physical servers either running in your data center, running in your branch office, running in your factory. You install Azure Stack HCI, install AKS on top of Azure Stack HCI, and that allows you to run your cloud-native containerized applications wherever you want.
Nice. At scale, clusterized, thanks to Azure Stack HCI. So why would someone actually want to do that? We have a high level idea, but I think it'd be good if you can give us some examples of customers who actually are onboarding on AKS on Azure Stack HCI, and we'll talk about some of the reasons why they are doing that.
Yeah, absolutely. We've been working with a whole bunch of customers over the last year. We've been in preview for the last year, and now at build, we're announcing general availability, which is super exciting. But through that, we've been actively working with customers. And at a high level, I've really seen two patterns come out of our customers. The first pattern is that we have customers who are modernizing their company's infrastructure. They've seen that cloud native is the way to go, and they've been building new applications on Azure, on AKS, taking advantage of all the best and latest practices. But then they encounter a scenario where they really need to take that application and run it in their environment. Now, most of the time, what causes this is that there is some piece of data that application needs to interact with that is hard to get up to the public cloud. Maybe it's just a sheer size of it. I had one customer that I was talking to where they realized that they had petabytes of data running in their data center that they needed to operate on, and they couldn't figure out how to make that work. Another customer I talked to wanted to do stream processing of data that was coming from sensors in their factory. And it could be made to work if they were running it in public cloud, but it would be a lot more efficient for them if they could take that app and run it where the data was.
It would cost a lot of money sending all that data up to the cloud anyways, right? You don't want that, and privacy issues and so on. But
yeah, there's a million things there. There's cost, there's latency, there's privacy. A lot of things cause people to think, I need to run this app where the data is.
Yeah. So you just mentioned an example of a customer who have already adopted AKS in Azure and want to bring these workloads on premises. But you also mentioned customers who are modernizing the data centers. Do you have an example of and a story of a customer doing that?
Yeah, absolutely. So I mentioned that we have two sets of customers. And I talked about people who are building in Azure and then having a need to run it locally. The other set we see is we see customers who also wanting to modernize, working on their apps. But for them, the next step that they're looking at is actually refreshing their hardware that they have on their estate. So one of the key customers that we're actually talking with at Build, and we have them in our session, is a company, SKF. And SKF is right in the middle of this right now. They're refreshing all their hardware and their solutions that they use in their environments. And as part of that, they've gone, okay, we have old hardware. We need to replace the old hardware, but we know that we want to be modernizing and using cloud native application design patterns. So they're using AKS HCI as part of that solution, so that even though they're making this big investment in their premises, they know that they can do so and build new apps that will run just as well in Azure as they will in their data centers, factories, branch offices.
Brilliant. So whether you want to modernize your infrastructure or you want to bring your cloud workloads developed on AKS on premises, so AKS on Azure Stack HCI is for you. What do you recommend our customers and developers want to get started? What's the call to action here? What should they do?
So we are GAing the service today, which is super exciting. So please get out there, try it, read it. We have some great documentation up. We have a 60-day free evaluation and an evaluation guide. And on top of that, in our evaluation guide, we actually tell you how to try this out in a virtual machine running on Azure. So if you do not have hardware ready, in under an hour, you can get up and running with the solution, play with it, and see how it works for you.
Perfect. Well, thanks, Ben. You know what you have to do. See you soon.